Yeah, I got echoes. I'll turn it off. Doesn't make sense.
మరి మీ కెమెరా
మీరు కెమెరా కదా
అంటే
కెమెరా I'm not on it.
Okay, I'll have to come close to you then.
So yeah, I'll turn this off.
Yeah. Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Tri-State Telugu Association Gardening Sunday ki welcome. Ivala, first of all, happy Earth Day to all of you. Earth Day is April 22nd, 28th, 22nd, we follow. But happy Earth Day to all of you. And this year's theme is restoring the earth. Restoring the earth is we have to make sure we recycle and take care of our earth. The only way we can do that, plant more trees and soil, take care of our earth, soil. Adini Mida, we are at Ravi Tokla Garu's house. And I'd like to show you Ravi Tokla Gari house. He has an amazing yard. Akkadi nunchi modaledam. This is the entrance to his house. It's so beautiful. Ravi Tokla Garu takes great care in manicuring his yard, his lawn, everything. And every brick he lays, he takes personal care and he's so knowledgeable. And let me walk through his, see, and neatly. He has such a variety of flowers too. And here we are. Hi, Ravi.
Hello, Panagaru.
Hi. Thanks for doing this to TTA. Me garden ni Ravi Tokla Garu is the moderator and the founder for Chicago Desi Gardeners. I'm a multifaceted personality with music, arts, and he founded the Desi Gardeners group, Facebook group, and I've never planted a plant in my whole life, and I've taken him as the inspiration and started gardening. So that's a big deal. So Ravi Garu, I want you to talk to us about gardening. Nalanti danne inspire chesaru meeru, and there are a lot of other people inspired too. So can you please guide us through the gardening? Em cheyali ani. I spent so many $100s last year, but no use.
All right. Thank you so much again, Panagaru. Nice introduction. Yeah, I know Rome was not built in a day. This garden, what I'm working on, is not built in a day. It took a while for me to change from what it was and what it is right now. And like they say, temple's construction will never end. My garden construction or the improvisation will never end. It goes on and on. And I'm not a master of anything, but I've learned on my own. And I'm glad that I could inspire people like you.
Thank you.
That's a bigger compliment if I can inspire somebody to do something which I've been trying to learn. So I will present my garden here and also share few tips. Again, this is not to claim that I'm a master of all this, but I've learned it my own way. And I've seen improvements in the way I've been implementing all this. So I'll share those tips. There might be some mistakes. Please pardon, but again, it's my way of improving a garden, and then I will show you around what needs to be done, and then I will be touching base of different subjects again. So let me again talk to you before we proceed. We need to talk about which direction your house faces, or like which are the areas which you can use for gardening. To me, I can tell like all the four sides, north, west, east, south, all can be utilized. Fortunately for me, my house is in the um, cul-de-sac or in the turning, so it's exposed to all the four sides. I have so much huge space to grow everything. So um, east and south and west are some good places where you can grow a lot. My house actually is facing the east, so there's a lot of room for me to like grow in here. I made a lot of room, and then I can show you like what we can do differently, or how you can beautify your garden. Some people tend to like it more simple. I like to have more fillers in my garden. I don't want it to be more sober. I want it to be like more floral, I would say. And I I make sure like I have flowers all throughout the season, like early spring, then early summer and late summer. So I plan that way, and then this was not like done all once. Like when I initially took this home like 7 years ago, I had like pebbles all over. It was all like stones. So I got them removed, and yeah, it is a little expensive. Expensive is not necessarily money, but you need to put your time.
Mm.
That's more needed in here. And again, like you don't put all the plants at once. Like if you want to add your fish in an aquarium, you kind of start few at a time, and then slowly you increase them. So plants also the same. You tend to check the soil, tend to see how they're growing in the place where it is supposed to be, and then you start adding more and more as the season grows. And then this is not how it was placed earlier. Like I keep moving them every time. Let me show
Yeah.
you here. All at the back, I have aliens here. Aliens are very beautiful. If you can see the buds here, they would all be shooting all the way up, and then they're so beautiful. They all like pop up here, and then I put them all in the back.
How tall do they grow?
They go almost like 3 to 4 feet,
Okay.
3 feet, I would say, and then they. That's the reason I put all of them in the back, and they are all perennials. They come every year. You don't have to invest every time. So once you put it, they multiply, and then they keep coming all the time.
They're bulbs, right?
They're all bulbs. Typically, bulbs are planted in the late winter, I would say, or about September, October timeframe is when you actually plant them, and then all the bulbs will come that way. And over here, I have trellises, and then over there also, if you can see, they're all trellises. I have clematis. Clematis is a beautiful vine. I have two combinations. One is purple, and the other one is white. Um, Both of them grow, and since the sun comes all this way directly, this tends to grow faster. I've seen people complain saying that no, they have not. Their clematis doesn't grow much. All I would say is like give the soil where the water drains properly.
Okay.
Water should like not. I mean, the water should not be clogged there. It should drain properly, and then vines tend to find a support. If you give them the support, they tend to spread faster. The more you give, the more faster they would go.
How many years does it take to grow that big?
Yeah, that's a good question. This is almost 4 years old.
Okay.
In fact, it should have grown much beyond this one. Some had problems earlier, so it didn't really grow. But if you give them the more support, and if it's exposed to good sunlight, at
Okay.
least like 4 to 6 hours, it grows well. And this gives out flowers in the early summer, I would say.
Okay.
This is about it. And then I have some bushes here. And always see that you keep the bushes down or below the window level.
Mm-hmm.
And I have some room for me to to create an additional way of adding more pots in here. So you'll see as we grow. Here again, I have combination of bee balms. Bee balms shoot up late in the summer; they go all the way up.
Okay.
And then I have, I've ordered them like the back ones grow all the way taller, and then this is a little. The order should be like this.
మీరు height wise place చేశారు అయితే ఇవన్నీ.
Okay. This Veronicas, they grow only this tall, and then the bee balms go taller. So I give the perception like you get to see all the colors.
Okay.
And this is Coreopsis. They have beautiful yellow flowers, which bloom all the summer.
Okay.
This is called grape hyacinths. They're beautiful, and then we have corals here, and this spreads a lot. This will be like very beautiful little late into spring, spreading all over the place. So I'm planning to move this away from here into a different place. I'll show you where.
But in the grow ayyaka moving, is it easy?
Yeah, you have to keep moving them because you need to adjust them. Some of them tend to die, but that's what it is about. You spend the time in the garden moving things and adjusting according to your.
ఎందుకంటే ఇవి ప్లాంట్స్ కదా, రూట్స్ అన్ని ఇది ఉండి ఇప్పుడు మూవ్ చేస్తే will they survive అని.
ఏమి కాదండి,
పర్వాలేదా?
they will always survive.
Okay.
And I ensure that this is usually more clayish, but I dig out the soil a little bit and then I add little softer soil, the garden soil, I would say. So it drains properly.
Okay.
And then I'll show you around here. I've added few additional perennials. Now this is a time when I add more perennials, and these are Cranesbill.
ఇవన్నీ కూడా మీరు లాస్ట్ సమ్మర్ లో పెట్టారు?
లేదండి, this has been there for at least 3 years now.
Oh, ఇది tulips.
Tulips, they have been there for about 4 or 5 years, right?
Okay.
And they're one timer. Yeah, people complain like they don't get tulips, or like the critters take it away. If the critters are taking away, I would advise you to cover it with what do you call hen's cage.
Oh, okay.
And then like the mesh laga untundannamata. You put the mesh across and then put the soil on top of it, so they will
adi mesh kinda floor మీద వేయమంటున్నారు.
You put the bulbs inside and then cover the mesh. Cover with the mesh and then cover with soil, a mesh.
Okay.
Cover just in the soil. And yeah, I've added some daffodils in here. They all keep growing. And then these are my beautiful rose plants, which I'm planning to. Again, this is what I'm planning to do. This is not the way I should have ideally had. So I'm trying to move them all the way back. That's my project. So that I create some additional space here and do something different.
Okay.
So I'll show you around.
Yes, please. Gani, your gardening is so inspiring, Andy, and I want to come back to see మీరు మూవ్ చేశాక the plants survive అవుతాయా అనేది was my.
Absolutely, they survive. This is again some trellis I've added here and some hooks I could drill all the way into the brick. This is more of a European style, I would say. Fortunately for me, in all the houses, this is the place where the garage door is there.
Yeah.
But for me, in the elevation, although it's a garage, the garage actually, the door is from the other side. And this is just the brick piece which I got.
Yeah.
So I've drilled some holes and created some brackets there. Got some hanging pots, and made some room to add a new pots in here.
ఇవి ఎలా ఒక్క నిమిషం ఒకసారి ఇది ఎలా పెట్టారో చూస్తాను, నాకు ఎప్పుడు పెట్టాలని ఉంది. ఓకే, అగైన్ యూ పుట్ దిస్ ఎల్ బ్రాకెట్ హియర్ అండ్ ఓకే.
Yeah, you get a special drilling bit if you want to drill into the brick. Do not use a regular bit. You get a different kind of a drilling bit which goes into the brick.
Okay.
So that's a special one
Yeah.
which you need to check with.
Ravi garu, inkoti, one of our viewers were asking about that mesh. A bulbs petaka mesh kada. What exactly? How does the mesh help? I'm sorry to go back there, but
mesh actually, like you can see the good tulips in here. మీకు హెన్స్ కేజ్ ఉంటుంది కదా, అది కింద తవ్విన తర్వాత once you dig it, put the bulbs and cover steel mesh. It's just meshes with the holes. So and then cover with grass.
Okay.
Cover with the mud. So the bunnies or anything will not actually steal
the bulb initially. Okay.
That's one way of doing it. And when you're actually when you're getting the buds, normally the critters or the rabbits tend to eat them away.
Yeah, ఇలా ఉన్నది నేస్తుంది. So
there is fortunately I would say for me bunnies and problems levu, but there is there are some ways which you can Google maybe
yeah, sage pette avasanki ravu అని అంటారు.
And also if you mix this bulbs with some other do not eat, they do not come near that.
Okay.
And that's the way it worked out for me. And I'll show you some of the play here.
మీరు మీ యార్డ్ లో ఒక కార్నర్ కూడా వదలట్లేదు. you're being so
I want to create more room. See, then again I made a pie section in here, and then I want to make some rocks and then add
full landscaping.
Something which I'm still thinking about it, but I'll be doing this project in this season. Also, this is one other good place where you around the mailbox there is a lot of room. You can do a lot of things in here. So plant work something in here.
Okay, question. ఇది మీరు తవ్వాక this is the natural soil which was already there.
This is already a natural soil. I need to put proper soil before I plant anything. I do not plant directly to add the ground soil.
Okay.
Facing my north side, there's plenty of light here. So this I will try and use this place in here for growing more.
Okay.
And again, this part is my garage entrance. There's a very little sunlight which comes here. So I chose some plants which typically grow in the sunshade. Hostas or anything, they would actually go in.
ఇది మీది నార్త్ సైడ్ అన్నారు కదా.
This is north side.
Okay. So okay, with shade అనేది నార్త్ సైడ్ ka because it's under these plants kana.
It's north side takku vastadi overall sunlight, and under the plants kuda these plants again they bloom very well. But again, this space for me is doesn't get good sunlight, so I use a combination of different sunshade plants, which will eventually bloom in a little later afterwards.
Okay.
Like under this tree I have some daffodils. If you see, after this daffodils which will be done after spring, there are a lot of lilies which I planted. If you see, there are so many lilies, and these lilies actually bloom around summertime.
So you put early spring plants mixed in with summer, and at a given time eppudu green ga flowers ga untundi.
And once this is done, in a few days this will all be done, then this takes over.
Okay.
Lilies take over, and then I have beautiful tiger lilies coming all the way.
So it's always like seasonal. Early spring ki oka set of flowers, then summer and late sun.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a nice idea.
And then I'll show some beautiful addition into my family here.
Oh, nice.
Magnolias. It's so pretty. I've been dreaming about adding these magnolias. Like in magnolias, there are about 10 to 12 different varieties, I would say. There is Benny, Anne, Jane. I've chosen this is Betty magnolia. And if you could see, now I've added 3 of them. This one in here. And this itself speaks. I don't have to speak on behalf.
I know, it's so pretty.
They're so pretty. And I chose this Betty magnolia because this blooms little late into the spring. And what it does is, even if there's a frost or frost anytime, this will still manage to give the beautiful flowers. So you choose magnolias as per the color and put in the proper direction. Like this one would be more of a west or north and west corner.
So this needs full sunlight.
This actually needs full sunlight.
10 to 12 hours.
No, not 10 to 12 hours. 4 to 6 hours is also fine.
Okay.
So this is one more addition, 3 of them. And this is my west side of it. All this my lawn. I have another beautiful project coming up. I'm excited. But I'm
ఇక్కడ కూడా ఉన్నాయి మీ flowers,
Yeah.
lilies, tulips.
And then this is a project which I'm still working on. Did not want to show off till I made it. I'll show that part later.
So we get to premiere and we get to watch it first.
Something, the corner of my thing, and then trying to make a pond here.
Another landscaping project.
Another landscaping project. If you ask me, like, who's getting it done, I do it on my own.
No?
I'm
How many hours do you spend on this?
This is my exercise. This is my stress reliever. So that's what I'm telling you. It's not like you don't have to throw money. You have to put your time. And since I'm interested, I still need to design. Like I want to put some rocks and everything, and make some waterfall using this pre-molded tubs. You can get this pre-molded tubs in Menards. They're cheap. They cost anywhere from 80 to 200 bucks, depending on the size what you want. And then I'm still working on it, so this is not yet done. I don't want to claim anything big.
రవి గారు కొన్ని క్వశ్చన్స్ వస్తున్నాయి, అది ఆన్సర్ చేద్దామా? కృష్ణయ్య గారు క్వశ్చన్, why magnolia plant doesn't have any leaves, only flowers? Is that
the leaves? It's an early bloomer, so we get flowers even before you get the leaves. So the leaves will come, and actually it will be as a kind of a bush, so that I'll have my privacy later into the season. So the blooming will be in the early part. The flowers bloom first, then the leaves actually come.
Oh, okay. And we have another YouTuber who was asking about the fertilizers. Eclematis, వీటన్నిటికి fertilizers. Is there a
fertilizers? I'm going to show what fertilizers we use. Definitely, that's very interesting and a very important subject too.
Okay.
Sure. I'll introduce you to my fruit trees here. You can see this one here. This small one is pears.
Nice.
And it's been here for about 4 years.
4 years?
4 years. Yeah.
Okay.
I think it might be 5 years if I'm mistaken. Yeah, 5 years. Yeah. And you can see all the flowers coming in. And this is my red apple tree. I'll also talk about what we need to do for taking care of the fruit trees.
Okay.
How we need to manage. And my beautiful peach tree. I love this. You can see the peach color flowers. This is the best fruit tree I've ever had, and one of my highlights in my garden. And
it looks pretty.
Like these branches will literally pour down when it fruits. Like I have at least like 300-400 peaches.
300-400
or more than that if I'm.
And ఇది కూడా 4 years అయింది పెట్టి.
This is also 4 years.
Okay.
For fruit trees, you make sure like even the first or second year, if the fruit comes, you plug the fruit off. Do not let it grow because the younger plants should not actually have the fruits. So,
అంటే ఆ బల్బ్ చిన్న బడ్స్ లాగా ఏమైనా వచ్చేటప్పుడు అప్పుడే తెంపేయాలి.
you nip them
in the bud itself. Okay.
Why it is like the energy which is spent in raising the fruit at an early age has to be nipped, because that energy has to be spent for the tree to grow.
Okay.
So do not enjoy the fruit in the first couple of years. But again, if you ask me where I bought this fruit trees, I just bought them at Meyer.
Okay. Actually, that was a question my viewers adutunnaru. Where does he buy the flowers?
No, these fruit trees are just I buy them all in any of these stores.
Okay.
And it worked good for me because the main things, there is no green thumb for this. The only green thumb is make sure you have good sunlight, good soil, water them properly, and take care of all the plants with proper care.
What time do you water these plants? They have a specific early morning antar కొంతమంది
Yeah,
కొంచెం night.
typically we do not want to water them when it is like in the sun time. So usually you do it in the late in the evening or in the early mornings.
Okay.
That's what I do. When you plant a new tree, always make sure that you're watering it well.
Okay.
And even the magnolias and all which I brought, I save money because if you ask for a contractor to buy it and put it, it's a lot of money to put one tree. So I get them, I buy them, I do put in my garden on my own. So make sure you save money. Do not only spend the money. And I'll also talk about the two. If you can come here.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, ఇవన్నీ new
these are
additions to
some,
your garden, huh?
perennials which will be going into the that place, my fountain space. So it's all I go with a combination of perennials as well as annuals. Perennials are something which I don't have to invest every time, but no, and then annuals is something which will go into those pots. I put some of the floral seeds in those. They are actually coming, and this is my south side of it. So I put them all for getting enough sunlight before I put them into the ground. So they're all in the process. They're all taking a sun bath right now. Um, this is my solar panel project which I made. This is out of the glass doors which I made. I normally put um, my seedlings into this. This year I have not done good into seedlings, so I've not touched that. Otherwise I normally start my seedlings in this solar project. Where
Solar అంటే ఇప్పుడు
solar is like typically I get good sunlight into this one.
కానీ the weather's cold కదా, it doesn't get cold here.
అందుకని I did not start in this one, but what I do is once I put it inside, when it is like good sunlight, I put them in this glass can.
Starter is inside, కొంచెం ఇదయ్యాక ఇట్టేస్తారు మీరు.
But this year I did not take my seedling project seriously, so I'm delayed on this one. Then let's get into the real interesting part.
Yes,
This is also
please. మా వ్యూవర్స్ చాలా మంది దీనికోసమే లాగిన్ అయ్యారు.
Yeah.
The vegetable garden.
Yeah, this is again those trellises or the pandillu, which everyone would want to have.
Exactly.
When it comes to raising their vegetable gardens, because we all grow those climbers, birakaya, surakaya, and all those things which need wine, which need support to grow. So let me talk about the pandillu or the trellises first, and then I'll talk about raised beds. This is all I do. If you look into
ఇది
this,
మీరు మీరే చేశారా or ఇలా కొనుక్కొచ్చారా?
లేదండి, I make this. Like these are the little shelves which you get.
Okay.
Just use these two sticks and put them together, and if you sew them and push it in the ground, it stands as a support. So that the climber actually goes up. So I stack them all. This is what I make. This is all you can make. You don't have to really buy them. And talking about,
you're so artistic, మీరు దీన్ని కూడా పెయింట్ చేసేసారు.
Yeah, and this ones again are available in Lois. Typically you don't get the frame out of it, you just get the matrix.
Okay.
This piece is about 4x8 in Lois or Home Depot or anywhere you can get it. I cut them and I frame them like this. I put the borders here, and then I tie them so that I get enough room and for the vines to spread across.
Okay.
Now talking about the main thing, like this particular lattice, if you can show this one.
ఇవన్నీ bolted down.
Yeah. This is
yeah,
what I
you
want
use
to show.
these kind of strings to
No, let me talk about how we put in the ground first.
Okay.
If you can, typically it has to go on all the 4 poles. What I do is, this wooden thing will not go into the ground and stand by itself. So I use these garden poles. I hit them all the way into the ground, take this as the main support, and tie this, the pillars. So that becomes the frame. Like if you can see here, this is my reinforcement, and that's how you reinforce this pillar so that they don't fall with the weight or with the wind. And if you can see here, for every pillar,
You have
I
a
have a
garden support, the
garden
metallic
post,
support.
metallic support. So that ensures, it reinforces the pillars to be erect and doesn't fall off due to wind or the weight. And then, as I mentioned, these are the lattices which you buy. Make sure that you have the good border and like tight. So you can use zip ties, and even when you make this again, angle is very important to
Support.
have the support. So use some engineering, some kind of reinforcement rather than just leaving the L shape, because if you do not provide this, they tend to fall.
Okay.
So this is important, and
So ఇది మీ బెడ్ ఎంత డైమెన్షన్స్?
they're 4 by 8, and you put, let me
4 by 8.
talk
ఇది
about.
వీటికి దేనికి సారీ టు ఇది దేనికి బీరకాయలు సొరకాయలు వాటికి
Okay.
వాడతారా? ఈ హైట్ పట్టి అదే
Okay,
అంటున్నాను.
height
వెజిటబుల్
is also important. I generally tend to give height clearance of at least 6 feet, so that I can walk under this one and make sure if everything is fine. In this case, I have an aisle here I can walk through.
Yeah.
So I go through all this, and then anything I want to make, cut it or mend it or do anything, I
Yeah.
have enough room. And
That was my question. Between the beds, ఏమైనా space restrictions ఉండాలా అని.
చెప్తానండి. I'll talk about those now. This is when I use the thread, the Gani thread or the Sutri thread.
Huh.
So, good job.
Yeah, that's okay. I got it. Yeah, చెప్పండి.
Yeah, this is again I use, instead of using a wired mesh, I use this one. So the vines, ikkada then beerakayalu sorakayలు అన్ని పెడతాను ikkada. So they all take all the way up and then they spread, and this is a kind of a support for them.
ఇది లాస్ట్ ఇయర్ పెట్టారా ముందు నుంచి ఉందా?
2 years అయింది పెట్టి.
2 years నుంచి.
When I actually started, I just had this one, and then I extended as my vines were growing. So this was not a planned way of doing it, because as they grew, I had to adjust to their length. But if you plan well, you can do much better job. So initially, my garden was only limited to this space. Then I started this place, then this, and then this, because my vines were all growing. Again, talking about raised beds, that's another thing, which people are all interested in.
Yeah.
This raised bed, I did not know what a raised bed was. So what I thought was, bed is something which you have to dig into the garden. So I teared open the grass in here. Never do that, because tearing open the grass is a very laborious process. It takes a lot of time. But I did it in the first place when I made this first bed. So there's no grass beneath this one.
Okay. So first clean chesesi grass, then you put the bed.
Yeah, then I put the bed, and then, but this has been like 4 years old.
Okay. This is garden soil?
I will talk about the soil. We'll talk about the soil.
Okay.
So again, this is my another garden bed. You can walk through here. Okay. This is again a garden bed which I made. How you make a garden bed, or typically the garden bed, if it is about 2 feet or 18 inches to 2 feet, it's always good.
Okay.
And then make sure if you have a platform like this, you can sit and then reach around. And the recommended size of the width of the bed should not be more than 4 feet. It should not be more than 4 feet.
Okay.
It can be long. Typically 4 by 8 is fine, 4 by 6 is fine, or 4 by 4 is fine. If you have constricted places, you can go by 2 feet max, but do not ever go beyond your 4 feet, is what my advice is. And what is the mix? What is the mix we have in here in garden bed. Um, I use a mix of garden topsoil, which is a regular soil, and then I make my own compost, which we'll talk about. That compost is what I use. Even if you're before you start, let me tell you, when you make this bed, on the bottom, in the bottom, you try to put the cardboard sheet, any cardboard, like your boxes, cardboard boxes which you get, put the cardboard box down on the grass so that the grass doesn't grow into the soil. That's first thing. And then you can have the branches, the old branches, or the previously removed soil from your pots or anything as a first layer down. Okay, you can have that one, and then you add topsoil, and then you add your manure or your compost, and then you can buy any organic compost from any of the places which I'm going to show you. That's one thing. And then we also was it um, I actually use some horse manure to
Mhm.
mix in the same thing. And then uh, peat moss is another one which you need to use because it loosens the soil. And then the another one is sand. Sand, isuka. Sand, if you use, what it does is it makes sure the water is actually drained properly. So we can talk about the proportions, but sand, again, compost, and then horse manure is what I am using right now. Although people don't really go with horse manure because they think it is going to be hot, but that's one thing which we can use. And then um, peat moss. Peat moss also loosens the soil.
సో అది కార్డ్బోర్డ్ వేసాక ఇవన్నీ ఇన్ దట్ ప్రపోర్షన్ యూ గోయింగ్ టు టెల్ us మిక్స్ చేసేసి దీంట్లో పరుస్తారు.
Yeah, and make sure, like in my case, if you see here, look at the worms.
అది యాడెడ్ అవే ఉన్నాయా?
This is all what I added.
Oh, you
Because
add these.
topsoil, when you make a raised bed, you will not find earthworms, which are very good. I found this compost in horse manure.
Oh,
And
horse
then,
manure లోనే వచ్చారు.
yeah, which I made sure. That's the reason. And these are gold for me. The more the worms, the more better it is for your plants. Yeah, they're creepy, but
I know.
that's what your plant wants. Anywhere if you dig, because typically your um, raised bed will not have all this earthworms and all. But if you can add them, it's going to be enriching for your plants. So that's one thing. And I would like to talk about, show you the this is again also bed. It's ready. And okay, when you transport the plants, typically they say it is about Mother's Day. Mother's Day is the time when you normally put your plants in here, veggie plants. But that need not be the proper date because you need to check if there's any frost date beyond that Mother's Day.
Okay.
So ideally, I would advise wait for a week after Mother's Day and then start putting it. But if you think the weather is good, see the forecast and then you can start putting it right across Mother's Day.
Okay.
But make sure that there are no frost dates around that. And I'll take some questions if you have any.
What size, length, width, height of the garden is important?
As I said, like raised beds, if you're trying to do it, the width should not be more than 4 feet because it makes it tough for you to reach and then work on the plants. Like if you can see this one, this is about 4 feet. The height, as I mentioned, it should be like 18 feet to 2 feet, but the size of the depth of the soil is about 18 inches. 16 to 18 inches is ideal.
ఇప్పుడు ఇంకో క్వశ్చన్ అండి. లాస్ట్ ఇయర్ ఇలాగే పరిచాను, పెరిగాయి అంతా. ఈ ఇయర్ అవి తీసేసి క్లీన్ చేసేసి కొత్త మన్యూర్ అన్ని వేసేస్తే సరిపోతుంది కదా. యూ డోంట్ హ్యావ్ టు డిగ్ డీప్ అండ్ క్లీన్ ద హోల్ బెడ్ అండ్ డూ ఇట్. అంతేం అవసరం ఉండదు.
Yeah, okay, చెప్తాను. Typically what I do is when it is winter time frame, I cut all those trees and veggie peruta kada.
Clean
I
chese?
I do not clean them, but I lay them on the garden.
Oh, okay.
All
You
the
don't take
leaves,
them off and throw
no,
them
I don't
away.
throw them.
Okay.
What I do is I put them as a bed. I take all the leaves around the garden, and I make sure they're all like sitting on the soil throughout my winter season, because that's going to help me decompose and protect my soil. And after this season, I tend to loosen the soil. I loosen the soil. I'll add one bag of, or one some additional manure, and also add some additional compost to make sure this season it has all the riches,
Okay.
all the nutrients for the plants to grow. So
you put the fertilizers and everything on top of what was already
not
there.
on top, but I mix it.
Okay, mix it.
I
Right.
mix it again.
Right.
And I tend to till the soil again, like you've seen there. In that side, I till the soil. I do not make it, sow in the same place.
Okay.
I loosen the soil up, which I think is very important. So if you go to, anywhere you dig, you should get those.
Worms.
You mix it properly first of all. Whatever you're trying to add, the new manure, and then
And
and let's talk about the most important thing.
yes, we've been having questions about the compost.
Yeah, composting again. I've been doing it. I'm a big fan of doing my own compost. But again, you need to make sure, like, do you really need it? Because of the place, how much of a place you have in your garden, and if there's a proper place where you can actually do the composting. For me, I have some room. I made some room, and because of the size of my garden, and my passion to make my own compost, I made this one. Uh, what to do with this compost? How do you make your compost? Watch out. Like this has this in any compost, it's a mix of carbon and nitrogen. Carbon is mostly with your dry leaves, and then it might be the hay, it might be the wood chips, or it might be the sawdust. Even if you go to Home Depot or anything, if you go to the cutting place, I think you'll find a lot of sawdust. You can get them free in Home Depot, or you can do newspapers, or you can use cardboard boxes, and that has to be 50%. And make sure when you're putting newspapers or anything, they do not have any glossiness, or like any paper tape or anything. That's one component. The other important component is greens. Greens is the grass clippings, what you put, that's um, the green, or the veggie waste, like whatever your kitchen scrap you get is all your
Potato skins, onions.
so this is not trash, this is your treasure. And
Yeah, the banana
make
peels.
sure anything again in the compost, you don't have to show it too much, I guess people don't like it.
It was better than the worms there. I couldn't see the worms.
All right. So eggshells is good, but again, no meat, no cheese, because it gives a smell. So make sure you don't add them. And I also make sure, at least personally me, I do not put any seeds into it, because last time when you use the manure, the seeds tend to grow all over the place. So I try not to put any seeds of any kind. And the third important component is water. You need to keep adding water all the time, and this needs
Add
to
water to this bin.
add water to the bin.
Oh.
And this bin has to have good holes. It needs to be aerated. It needs to be aerated. Now add water and keep churning it. Keep mixing it all the time. You need to turn it upside down all the time, and make sure it all decomposes. Now this has been sitting here for a while. I need to add a little more green into it. It doesn't have the green. That's the reason it is not disintegrating. I've not added the recent grass clippings because they had the fertilizer on it. So I didn't want to put the chemicals into my compost. So the next lot, which I'm going to cut, the green, I'm going to add this. So that will kind of start the decomposing process very soon. And make sure you turn it all the time. And you don't have to buy this big kind of boxes, which is for making the compost. And make sure you cover it all the time. You can use any of those. Yeah, you can use any small plastic tote boxes. Make sure you make small holes in the bottom, and make sure you make holes in the top on the lid also. So when you add them, keep adding a mix of 50% of carbon and 50% of nitrogen, and then keep mixing them along with the water.
Okay.
And make sure you have good sunlight and churn them, and they need to actually produce a lot of heat for it to disintegrate. If you are a very lazy person, if you cannot do all this, very simple thing, whatever kitchen scraps you collect, whatever leaves you collect, from the winter time to the springtime, dig a hole in your raised bed gardens. You can just go take some place, put all your kitchen scraps in it, cover it up.
Oh.
Make sure you're not dumping the kitchen scraps in one place.
Spread it.
Spread it, because once you dump it in one place, it decomposes, and it's going to be soggy. Do not do that. Spread it all across, so that you don't. If you're a lazy person, you don't have time to do all this composting. Just leave it there. It's going to help you down the line.
ఇది when should we start? Spring time lo start cheyala mari.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure winter lo we can't put it out and let it sit like that. So you start this.
This is all throughout the season. My wife shouts at me when I don't collect the kitchen waste which are sitting in the kitchen, which I do not let her throw, and sometimes I'm too lazy to come out and do that. But still, if you can make sure you're like dumping into this one, that's the reason.
Like 20 all through the year you can do
all
this.
All through the year, there's no different time. And the more you move it, winter time it doesn't decompose. Winter time, but I think
we can skip those 4 months and then do it.
Okay, we can start doing it. So that's one thing. I'll show you what we can do again. This is the peat moss I was talking about.
ఎక్కడ కొన్నారండి ఇది?
You can get in any store.
Any specific brand you use?
No brand, nothing. Okay. So this is the peat moss, which should be going into the raised bed garden.
Okay.
Raised beds. And this is the soil from the previous pots. My garden pots, which I use. This soil again I use for another raised bed, which I'm going to construct this year. So I'm planning to have 2 more raised beds. So the old pot soil will be my one layer. I have peat moss. I have compost mix, which I bought from the local nursery in here. This is a growing place. It has very good compost. This, apart from what I already have, I use it. A good one, and I trust this. It's showed good results to me. And then you don't want to show this, but this is horse manure.
I think our viewers will be okay as long as there are no worms.
Yeah, you cannot have beautiful flowers without getting your things dirty. This is horse manure, which is also going to be one of my layer. But again, I would want you to exercise caution when you're adding horse manure, because it's too hot. So,
hot as in vediga.
Yeah. So it tends to burn the root. So use cautiously. This is my first year of using it. I've not seen the success or the adversities of that one. So please be cautious about it. One other thing which I forgot to mention earlier is the grass clippings which you collect when you mow your lawn. Use them as a layer when you are doing a vegetable garden.
Okay.
You have your vegetable garden sown. Make sure the grass clippings are the mulch of your veggie garden. So that helps 2 ways. One thing is they would ensure that the moisture is retained on the soil veggie garden. You do not add any mulch on top of the veggies, but this grass clippings will be like a mulch. And also the grass clippings are very, very useful for the veggie plants. So please make sure to do that. and make sure the grass doesn't have the chemicals in it. It's not a it's free of chemicals when you add them onto the layer for the veggie. Um, any questions?
Uh, Actually, our viewers have few. Let me read out the questions from our viewers. Uh, One is, what do you do in winter to your compost bin? My compost bin got super wet even after covering.
Yeah, it happens. That's what we all tend to be a little lazy, and also it's tough for us to take care of it during winter. So if I'm not using it effectively, I let it go that way. I start fresh when it is bearable for me to get out and dump my stuff. So if you ask me time frame around February is when I can start my process. But again, in during before even the winter comes in, all my dry leaves will be sitting in the compost bin already. Although they're not disintegrating or doing anything, they would, instead of throwing them away, I tend to keep all the leaves in my garden, in the
In there.
compost or in my veggie gardens.
Okay.
So, all the beds will be covered with the dry leaves and the stems and all, which I normally cut, and they all be laying in the garden. So that my moisture, the soil is, having its food and nutrients during the winter season.
Okay. Inco question. What's the ratio for peat moss, sand, and pot soil?
Yeah, that's
compost?
a good question. Say with 8 by 10, I would go with 4 bags of topsoil.
4 bags
And
of
then
topsoil.
at least like half um, half of this peat peat moss. Some people tend to go with a full bag of peat moss, but I go with half this thing, and then I use my old potting soil, and then sandbags should be two to make it more porous. I also use this coir from my old things like this ones, which will also be good for the beds. And the bottom layer can also be the old branches and leaves. They need not disintegrate, but they can form as one layer, a small layer. So I know building a raised bed is always be like a little costly in the first place, but it's worth it. Make sure you do not throw the waste. That is not waste actually. That's a treasure. So anytime you feel you want to collect those dry leaves, store it and use it as a bottom layer for your raised bed. So you don't have to spend too much money on adding the soil.
Okay. That sounds good. Uh, yeah. Actually, inco question undi. She wanted to know, uh, what would you suggest to optimize space around the pool? There's a very less gardening space. I
Okay.
know. Yeah.
Gardening. That's what now. I use this space in here a lot because this is all south, and always make sure like you are putting the gardens or the veggie gardens in the place where it's enough sunlight. You may be having the well, but if there is no sunlight, do not even plan to have that. If the sunlight is at a different place, you can use those gunny bags which are like more portable and make it as a raised garden because you can move them literally, and they are available on Amazon, where it's more of a bags, a big round
Yeah.
bag.
Now, yeah, I have it
Yeah.
in my house. It's something like this,
Yeah, this is
but it's a little more porous.
yeah, this is not the bag.
Yeah,
you
this
are
is
putting
plastic.
this
Yeah.
plastic.
It's a porous thing
Yes.
you find them in Amazon. 15 gallons, 20 gallons.
Correct. Use
Yeah.
those kind of a bags.
నేను అది వాడతాను because I
And
don't have much
they will
yard
have
space.
handles like this, and you can move them around anywhere in your lawn, in your space, wherever there is enough sunlight.
Yes. ఇది మీ వెజిటబుల్ గార్డెన్ అంతా మీరు సౌత్ సైడ్ పెట్టారు.
This is all south. I mean,
Is that the best place to grow your
south
vegetable
is
garden?
the best place to grow your vegetable garden.
Okay.
If you're not sure, again, like do not plant it too close to your fence because the fence shadow falls on the garden.
Oh, okay.
So do not put your plants too close to the. Make sure watch the sunlight,
Mm.
Put those plants in the way that the sunlight actually transits.
Okay.
And that's what, if the place is of a constraint, or make sure that you have portable bags like this. This is not the material, use a different material. They're all available on Amazon, and move them around.
Yeah,
So
it
that
needs
you'll
to.
have your garden, and also make use of the sunlight.
Yeah. And pots lo వేసే soil you change every year.
Yeah,
అదే pot లో
potting
మీరు
soil.
వాడారు.
This potting soil is different.
You
than,
literally empty them and
Yeah.
put another
I'll
one.
show you potting soil. Please come.
Oh, ఇది milk cartons కదా మీరు recycling
Okay,
milk
this I
cartons.
was trying to do something last year. I could not be successful, but I need to make some, effective this time.
Actually, this is a good idea. ఇలా milk
Yeah.
cartons ni you can decorate it beautifully
Yeah,
with
I'm
lovely
trying to have
flowers.
some, good flowers
Yeah.
coming in here. And this is a shoe rack, and this is the milk cartons which I cut them. Hopefully, I'll have my project this year. So
Yes.
there are two different soils. One is potting soil, one is garden soil. So use potting soil when it comes to pots, and make sure you're emptying the entire pot, because it already has some roots. That's what that soil I want you to use for your raised bed or anything. And then I normally put a new potting soil into my
ఎక్కడ కొంటారండి ఇవి నేపవిల్ ఏరియాలో?
any hardware store like Home Depot and all are good, but I buy them. Um, with my contractor, I have a very good landscaping company. They provide me all this, so I buy it.
మాలాంటి వాళ్ళకి
మీలాంటి వాళ్ళకి, I also buy them at the growing place. This is one good place I would recommend. They're a little costly, but I like the material what they give. Their compost is good. Like, I'm also using this Miracle Grow, which is found everywhere. That's also good. So you can use that as a potting mix, and it's always good. I would recommend.
Okay.
Any other questions?
నాకు లేవు. I'm looking at the viewers. One other question. It says one question we got is, do you do companion gardening?
No.
Okay. Yeah, that was the only question we had. And yeah, I guess నాకు లేవండి ఏం questions. నాకు ఇప్పుడు I want to go home and mend my ways. నేనంతా I think I did a lot of things wrong. That's why I wasted so much money.
Yeah, that's what. Do not put all the money at once. Do not put all the plants at once. Put your time first, and then try with few plants in the place wherever you're trying to do. And once you like them, you want to improve them, you can always move them, dig around them, make another pit and transfer them. They will not die. Do slowly, one at a time, and involve your kids, involve your partners. Make sure it's a very good exercise too, and very good stress reliever for you to get out. And especially in this kind of a world where we are living in a more of a solitude and a little less social life, spend this time, use this time very valuably, effectively, and work out, and grow plants, and use those organic waste, and then save Earth. And this is Earth Day. What a lovely program!
People are appreciating your T-shirt. Go plant.
Yeah.
Go plant. ఇంకొకటి మీరు ప్లాంట్స్ ఎక్కడ కొంటారు నేపవిల్ ఏరియాలో?
Yeah, okay, one other thing I want to say. You go to any shop, go to clearance material, and then buy all your stuff, right? Any store, any plant store, after some storm sometime, or there's a clearance one, you go there, plants are still alive. They are probably mutilated, or the flowers are all falling off. Buy those plants.
Those plants are
buy them
back.
The weather,
no,
that's one way of saving money. But I buy my thing with Caton's Landscape, that's around the corner of Deal and Eola. That's my favorite place. Again, they will not sell retail. You need to be going with a contractor only. you can reach out to me. I can guide, but that's one good place. But again, I buy in other places anywhere like Lowe's or Menards or Home Depot. All these places are good. Um, and for vegetable, I would like to recommend one good place. It's called Meineke Gardens in Niles. Meineke Gardens, Meineke, Meineke or whatever, gardens in Niles. If you go to that place, you will find all Indian vegetables. You'll find good floral collection. You will find everything whatever Indians eat. So if you've not put seeds, do not worry. Go to that place. Go around the first week of May. Get whatever you want, and you'll get birakai, zondakai, sorakai, munakai, everything you want to eat, you want to consume, and buy them. So no regrets if you have not put any seeds. Go buy the saplings and start getting into the gardening.
అండ్ సీడ్స్ ఎక్కడ కొంటారండి మీరు? ఐ నో మీరు సీడ్
This
నుంచి.
time, yeah, seeds I've not done any, sowing of the seeds. I'm a little late into the season. I was focused more on the other side, but few of my friends, they have some seeds. I'm also doing a seed, exchange program next week. That's one place where we are trying to exchange some seeds again. But no, I do not have a concrete answer from where we can get the seeds. But probably you can join us on Chicago Desi Gardener. There's a lot of people like you who have so many questions. Two other things I wanted to mention is when you grow, make sure you have these two. This is a fruit tree spray which you normally put it when it is actually flowering. So this is the time when I make sure I add this. And neem oil is another organic, medicine. I would say, like, use this one for, you need it for all problems you may have growing your veggies or your flowering plants. Make sure you have these both if you're into fruits and if you're into plants.
Okay. You have a dog, a dickcheda mi garden ne?
No, it's good.
Because my dog's aim is to eat into my garden bed.
No, he's a good boy. Come on.
Oh, he's shy. You mix this oil with something, or how do you spray?
There are all instructions there. You'll find all the instructions. You can find this on Amazon. Okay. And then do that. And then I use this thing to spray. So, this is for spraying on the fruit trees.
Okay.
Yeah, this is spray.
Let me see if they have any questions. How do we join the group? Facebook group?
Facebook group.
Yeah. You can search for Chicago Desi Gardeners.
Yeah.
And you can, Ravi Tokla Garu will let you in.
We have almost 900 members.
900,
now, growing every day. So I just started. I have one other good passion person like me, Anu. We both started this group, great group, and it's not like, as I mentioned, I know everything. I'm a learner every day. I've been learning it all the time, and I have so many questions like you all do. I put in the group. I find answers for that. So please do join, and then you exchange information and knowledge.
What they inspire you, they really inspire you. And actually, another viewer was asking, can she come and take your pears? Because your peaches and pears, you have about 200. Yeah, so she was saying, what do you do with those?
If you want to steal it, yeah, my dog. If you want to ask for it, yeah.
So she was like, oh my God, what do you do?
Yeah, I have peaches. I actually give away all the peaches in the neighborhood.
Yeah, I wish I knew. నేను వస్తాను. Next time ఎప్పుడో చెప్పండి, నేనే వస్తాను. I love those.
Are the best peaches, I would say.
Yeah, I'd like to come.
Look in the color, the bloom they are in, and it gives the entire branches actually hang down with the weight of the peaches. And unfortunately, when it frosts, like 3 years ago, I have not had a single fruit because if it frosts during the spring, all this will be killed.
Oh.
So peaches are, prone to die if it frosts into the spring.
Okay.
Yeah, hoping for a good season this time.
Yeah, it looks promising. Yeah. Uh, thank you, Ravi Garu. You spent your afternoon with us, and Tri-State Telugu Association really appreciates you.
Thank you. I think this is a good program by Tri-State Telugu Association. I've
Right.
been associated with this TTA for long now. I've seen so many good programs done by Tri-State Telugu Association. I think one of the first Telugu associations in the entire of Chicago, 40 years. Or no, I remember me doing some decorations for this event.
Yes.
By Usha Party Garu. I think I've done those decorations and all, and it's glad that now it's coming up with some innovative programs like this, and it's an opportunity for me to present what I'm passionate about, and it has given me a platform earlier also to present what I was passionate earlier.
Yes.
So wonderful program,
Thank
wonderful
you.
idea, and I think this is a good opportunity for me to also reach out to you guys, and maybe if you can all join my Chicago DC Gardener group, I can learn from you guys if you are an expert. And again, like this is all through my experience. I'm not a master of this. I'm always a learner. So if I've told anything wrong or which is not correct, or you want to suggest me something, now please do.
Yes, we all learn from each other in that group.
Yeah.
That is, yes. I like to say thank you one more time.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hi. Thank you all for joining in this afternoon and talking to Ravi Tokla Garu and us about the program, about the gardening. We hope you do some wonderful gardening and post some pictures to us, and we can share it with our friends. Please log into TTA YouTube channel and subscribe. Thank you.